Welcome in, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Angels Alive. What a loaded show we have today, Chris.
Oh, yeah. A lot of trades went down this week.
Tuesday through today has just been loads of news, releases, re-signings, trades, franchise tags, everything going on.
And there's still more rumored trades and stuff that haven't happened yet. So,
look
at Saquon Barkley specifically.
And we're going to break it all down and then end with our mock draft. We have to do three teams today. The Seahawks.
We got to redo the number 9 pick.
Ravens. But yeah, I'm sipping on. I got some Bud Lights here. It's officially spring break for me, so
nice.
Good time. All right, so let me before we get into NFL news, I forgot to recopy that slide. That's fine. We don't need the background. It's okay. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we can do the background. There we go. All right. So starting off, we're gonna do franchise tag summary here. So we already said about some people that got tagged earlier on the Monday show. I cannot recall who those people were at this point.
Yeah.
But we had 5 more guys get tagged by the Tuesday 4 p.m. Eastern deadline. Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin, Packers wide receiver Devontae Adams, Dolphins tight end Mike Gesicki, Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz, and surprisingly enough, Jaguars left tackle Cam Robinson for his second tag. That one was shocking. I didn't even think about Gesicki when we were talking about who could potentially still get tagged on Monday. So I
had thought about him, but I was just like, at that point, I was kind of hoping he wouldn't be, because as a Jets fan, I was hoping that the tight end market would be a little bit more talented than it is right now. And Gesicki was a nice target, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, I probably didn't think about him because I hadn't heard anything about him this offseason about potentially getting tagged. All the other guys I had heard stuff about them potentially getting tagged, but Gesicki I didn't. So that one came as a shock to me. But yeah, the Cam Robinson thing also was. Does that change the draft now for the Jags at 1?
I mean, it definitely could, because I mean they've been mocked with Evan Neal for 99% of the drafts. So I mean, do you draft Neal and put him at the other tackle spot still, or do you now go with Hutchinson?
Yeah, well, in terms of betting, I know Hutchinson has now become the favorite for the number 1 pick. But yeah, I mean, I think they should still go tackle. You can never have enough quality offensive linemen, as evidenced by the Bengals. And you know, they can just play Cam Robinson on the tag again this year and let him go next year and move Neal to the left tackle. Or in my hopes, I hope Ekwonu goes number 1, so I win money. Getting that value there that I got for him. But yeah, it's definitely makes number 1 more interesting now that the Jags did that.
Yeah. And all the mock draft, or not all, but a lot of the mock drafts that I've seen after Robinson got the tag I've seen Neal start slipping even as far as like the number 7 pick to the Giants. So
Yeah.
if he doesn't go number 1 to the Jaguars, it's anybody's guess where he goes.
Yeah, now I mean we'll see. We'll see what the mock draft simulator has for us later on with the Jags at 1.
I don't know, but they're gonna have Kyle Hamilton going to the Lions like they have, so we know that one for sure.
Let's get into the trades. So first up is the big one, the 2022 version of Matthew Stafford, except even bigger. Technically, the Lions got 3 first-round picks for Stafford,
but there's more pieces in this.
Yeah, 8 total pieces, as you put it, included in this trade for the Seahawks. So they get quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, his favorite target, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, who is touted as a big locker room guy and leader in Denver. The number 9 overall pick this year, the number 40 overall pick this year, a 5th round pick. Don't have the number on that yet. Waiting on compensatory selections to get dished out. A 2023 first round pick and a 2023 second round pick. Broncos get Russell Wilson and the Seahawks 4th round pick this season, or this upcoming draft.
Yeah. I don't like this trade at all for the Broncos. I mean, yes, they were a good team outside of the quarterback position this past season, but they just traded away their entire future and a lot of their current stars that they had too. And I mean, 2 of them at least, Noah Fant and Shelby Harris. They were 2 up and coming stars that they had. And I mean, I'm sure Russell Wilson would have liked to have a guy like Fant to throw to when he got here. I know he has all these other targets that he's going to have in Denver, but I don't know. I think that they way overpaid for Russell Wilson here. Especially since Russell Wilson's on the second half of his career here and most likely on the decline. So
he's under contract for 2 more years. He's 33 right now. He'll turn 34 November 29th. So still in prime age for quarterbacks, considering how long quarterbacks have been playing now. Contract the next 2 seasons. This year, $19 million salary, $5 million roster bonus, and 2023, $22 million salary and $5 million roster bonus. So a $24 million cap hit this year, 27 next year. Relatively good numbers for the Broncos to have on their books.
Mm-hmm.
And they came into the move, this trade, with right around $42 million in cap space. I'm not sure exactly where they're at now with Lock, Fant, and Harris, the books. Plus, with trading all these picks, 3 of those picks, it takes out of their rookie pool that they have to account for in their cap. And they only added a 4th round pick, which is not even close to what the 9 overall 2nd round pick and the 5th round combined are. So, yeah, I mean, even with Wilson, they'd be 18 million. I would probably think they're somewhere around 22 to 25 million still in cap space. It's not the greatest, but right in the middle of the league, I believe, somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere like that. But yeah, I mean, that gives them the chance to possibly reunite with a familiar face with Von Miller. Because I heard rumors earlier in the week that even Miller said something about possibly wanting a homecoming. So I don't know if they're going to try to make that happen, but
yeah, I mean, they need linebackers. I've been saying that all along about the Broncos. There's some good ones that we'll talk about that are on the market now. One in particular that we'll talk about got released. The Russell Wilson also made history with this trade. He is now going to be the first ever quarterback to start for a team that he beat in the Super Bowl in NFL history. So that's an interesting nugget there.
Yeah, not that it's going to happen, but that would be crazy if he then leads the Super Bowl or leads the Broncos to the Super Bowl against the Seahawks and beats the Seahawks. Again, that's not going to happen because the Seahawks are that bad, but that'd be kind of fun to see.
And also with the cap, the Seahawks side of it, in terms of Russell Wilson's contract, he was set to count $37 million against the cap for them. They save $11 million this season, but they take on $26 million in dead cap space. That's the second highest ever for a team to eat dead money. Obviously, Carson Wentz trade, $33.8 million for Philadelphia was what they took on, was the most. So, yeah, I mean, and so let's talk about Drew Lock.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Wait.
that the Drew Lock thing, everyone's kind of like, yeah, Drew Lock sucks. And yeah, I was a big Drew Lock person going into last season. I thought he was going to have a good season last year. Didn't work out. But, I mean, he still has potential, and now it's another opportunity. I don't know how they're going to play it, if they're going to make it an open competition between him and Geno Smith or not, or if they're going to draft the quarterback at number 9, if they're going to go and try to find one on the veteran market for, this season at least, and then draft one next year with the extra first-round pick that they'll have.
They could also draft one of the later guys in this draft, too, similar to what they did with Wilson. Not that ever really works out, but there are some quality quarterbacks in like the second or third round in this draft. So,
yeah, I mean, 40, you could maybe get one, depending on how many go in the first. God, man, these teams are still not going to hit the over unless they start hitting some shots like that. The beautiful 3 ball. Thank you, UAB. I need 3 points in a minute and 40 seconds. Hopefully.
Might happen. But with this trade, though, with sending Wilson to the Broncos, the AFC West is about as stacked at the quarterback position as I've ever seen a division. Like, I don't remember the last time where all 4 teams had, I'd say, probably a top 12 quarterback in the league.
Yeah. And I think I said it when this went down, the AFC West is probably going to be the first ever division to put all 4 teams in the playoffs. Mark had
either the Raiders or the Chargers are going to mess it up because they always do. This is how we got into the situation at the end of the season last year when the Chargers and Raiders had to just tie to go in. And, of course, one of them had to screw it up.
Yeah. And you look at it, it's funny how it has shifted because the NFC West used to be, the division, the power division. And now it's flipped over to the other conference, the AFC West, and the AFC in general, obviously. We've been talking about it all along, how weak at quarterback the NFC is as a conference overall. And, I mean, you're just adding another quarterback to the AFC pool with this one. So.
And not that he's a powerhouse, but there could be another NFC quarterback on the move to the AFC soon, too, with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. But we do have one that's more than likely going to move out of the AFC, and Deshaun Watson, which we'll talk about. But, yeah, Russell Wilson trade, massive trade for draft implications and both franchises. We'll see what the Seahawks do. Obviously, we're going to give them some new pieces coming up at the end of the show. Okay, next trade, another quarterback. It was so crazy though how this stuff went down. It was one each day. Each day you were just like, all right, what's gonna happen next? And it's continued to today. We still got stuff going on. So I don't know. I don't know if the weekend can hold up or not, but we'll see. All right, the Colts, one and done for Carson Wentz in Indianapolis. Going back to the NFC East, Washington Commanders acquiring quarterback Carson Wentz. They got him and they swapped their second-round picks, moved down 5 spots. Colts to number 47. Colts get that swap of the second round, like I said, up 5 to number 42. They also get number 73 this year in the third round and a conditional third-round pick next year, which is the exact same as the Eagles conditional second-round pick that they got last year from the Colts. It is 70% of the snaps he has to play.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here with this trade, though. Like, I was kind of surprised that the Colts actually moved on from Wentz after one season. Yeah, he didn't have the greatest season, but he didn't have a terrible season by any means. So, and I'm just like, because of what they gave up to draft him, I thought that they would have invested a little bit more into him. But I mean, I don't know. What do the Colts do now at quarterback? Do you think that they believe in Sam Ehlinger, or do you think they're going to go after somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo?
I've heard Garoppolo would be the target. My thing was, if you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, I see Jimmy Garoppolo as Carson Wentz without the turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, is he not? It's just the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is a lot more safe than Carson Wentz is. And I don't know. That's just, dude, if they don't get 1 point, I'm going to be, they need to make one free throw, dude.
I mean, in regards to Jimmy Garoppolo, though, obviously he's not a part of the Colts yet, but I think he does make a lot of sense for them too, because he's very good with the play action and all that. And the Colts have one of the best running backs in the league with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, obviously he had this one breakout season here, but if he can continue that into next year and he has a quarterback like Garoppolo who's good at the play action and stuff like that, then I think Garoppolo's a solid pick for them. But I'm very curious though to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna do.
But they only have Ehlinger right now, right? Or do they have another quarterback?
Jacob Eason.
No, I thought he was on like the Chargers practice squad or something.
Not that I know. As far as I know, they still had him.
No, he's on the Seahawks practice squad.
Seahawks. I don't know.
So yeah, Ehlinger is their only quarterback right now, I think.
Well, if ESPN's right, they have your boy. They have your guy, James Morgan.
Oh God. They can have him.
Jets 4th round pick.
Yeah, he's going to be the next Tom Brady now.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the Colts do. I do think they're going to go after Jimmy G and possibly use one of those 2 picks.
On the flip side, though, for Washington here, though, do you think that takes them out of the quarterback market in the draft?
Yeah, at least this year.
you don't think that they still draft one at, what are they, number 11 or 12 or whatever, and develop him for a year?
Nope. No. I think they're saying that we can get a better one next year. It's what the Colts have been doing for 6 seasons now.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Colts for the 7th straight season now we'll have a new starting quarterback.
The stats are a little bit misleading though. Like that whole thing is a little bit misleading though, because they did have Andrew Luck for 2 of those seasons, but it was at
week 1.
Jacoby Brissett in between them or something.
Scott Tolzien.
Oh, but
Andrew Luck,
that was because Andrew Luck was hurt. Yeah.
Andrew Luck 2016, Scott Tolzien 2017, Luck in 18, and then Brissett, Rivers, and Wentz the last 3 years on week 1. Also, with this trade, just the cap, the contract for Carson Wentz that Washington absorbed, $22 million salary this year, $6.294 million roster bonus. Next year is $20 million salary, $6.176 million roster bonus, and then 2024, $21 million salary, $6.235 million roster bonus. Again, not terrible, but yeah, Howie Roseman is the. You should give Howie Roseman the GM of the Year award already, because when you look at the Colts Eagles trade versus the Colts Commanders trade. So the Colts traded 21 third and what became a first round pick for Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz at the time. And then 1 year, Indy got 1 year out of Carson. The Eagles used that third round pick they got last to move up to draft Devontae Smith and still owns the Colts 16th pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
So Howie Roseman just took everything from the Colts.
Yeah, I think the Colts were secretly hoping that if it didn't work out with Wentz, that was because of injury, so that they didn't have to give up that first round pick. But
the funniest thing. He didn't get injured at all this year.
Nope.
The only reason he almost missed the game was because of COVID. Okay. The third big trade this week, yesterday, Chargers going after Khalil Mack, linebacker from the Bears. Not as big as the other 2 trades, but the Bears got number 48 overall in the 2nd round this year and a 2023 6th round pick next year. I mean, it's the arms race in the AFC West right now. Broncos get a quarterback. Chargers like, all right, we're going to get another pass rusher to go after your quarterback. So
yeah, and he's a familiar face in the AFC West too.
Yeah.
Former Raider there. But it's just like, I don't know. Is Khalil Mack has he just regressed a lot or something? Or I feel like a 2nd and a 6th round pick is not a lot for a guy like him.
Well, he's been hurt the last 2 years. So his sack production hasn't been there. And, it's a good price for the Chargers anyways.
He's also been one of the only pieces on that Chicago defense over the last few years, other than maybe Roquan Smith. But I mean, pass rusher wise.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't had anybody on the level of Joey Bosa opposite him. So
he did this year. Robert Quinn, man. Robert Quinn had 17 and a half sacks.
Did he have that, man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that, man.
Robert Quinn was top 5 in sacks this year. For the Bears. But
still, I think that this trade, if it really works out with Mack and the Chargers, this could look like one of the biggest steals possibly ever if he has a season like he used to.
Well, the reason why the Bears couldn't get a first round pick for him was because they had to find a team to take his contract too, and the Chargers took all of his contract. So I think that lessened it to a second round pick.
Yeah.
Because the Chargers are taking on 3 years at $63.9 million. So that's a lot. And that's what, like I said, I think that's really the reason why it was a lesser pick than a first.
Yeah. And we got their draft coming up in a few shows, but I wonder if that really affects their way of thinking. I mean, I know the guy that I had them mocked with a lot is Jordan Davis. I mean, he's a defensive tackle, but I don't know. I don't know if that changes their mindset.
I still think it works perfectly. Because why not? Okay. That's all I have for that trade. Anyways. Okay. Rest of NFL news. We're not even through page 1 yet of the script here. I wrote restricted free agent tenders. Actually, only one of them is at RFA. I didn't hear too much about a lot of the restricted free agents getting tendered. I think that window is still open. I'm not sure exactly when the RFA tender window closes, but anyways, Browns running back Dearness Johnson, he was tendered at the right of first refusal tender. So he couldn't get tendered at any. I mean, they could have tendered at him as a first round or a second round pick. Would have had to pay him a lot more, but and he was undrafted, so the original round tender is essentially null and void. So right of first refusal is what he gets. Browns can either they can match whatever offer he gets from another team. But if he leaves, they don't get any compensation for him. So And the other guy I had under this category, Tyler Huntley, got tendered as well, but he actually is an exclusive rights free agent. So essentially he gets the minimum salary for the league at the quarterback position, and Ravens get to keep him for another season. He's a restricted free agent next year. So I think next year is the season where you'll see a team go after Tyler Huntley, depending on what the Ravens tender him at.
Yeah, because he showed that he could actually perform well in the chance that he got when Lamar was hurt. So, I mean, when he does get his chance, I think a team will go after him, unless it's like a first or second rounder. I don't know if they would give up that for him, but
yeah, I'm not so sold on that teams won't call to trade for him still.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping a team does, because I picked him up in two of my dynasty leagues last season before the year ended, just to have him at quarterback in case he goes somewhere this year. So I'm hoping Tyler Huntley gets out of Baltimore somewhere.
Maybe I should do that in our dynasty league, because I'm looking for a quarterback right now because I had Brady. So.
Oh, dude, I got quarterbacks for you. Don't worry.
Right now, I got Russ and Mac Jones. Those are my two quarterbacks.
I have all kinds of quarterbacks. I have Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Dak Prescott. on a team that still can't win a
We'll see.
championship.
Maybe we'll make a deal.
On a team that still can't win a championship. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, he's headed back to Green Bay. He announced that earlier this week. It's weird, though, because then Ian Rappaport reported, I believe Schefter did too, that he signed a 4-year, $200 million contract to come back. But then Rodgers said he didn't sign anything. He is coming back to Green Bay, he said, but he hasn't signed a deal yet. So I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the 4 years, $200 million is actually a thing or not. I haven't heard anything about him as of late.
I mean, the $200 million over 4 years isn't anything to complain about, though. It still would make him the highest paid. So, I mean, I haven't heard anything different of that not being the contract numbers, but whether or not he signed it yet is a different story. He just might be being Aaron Rodgers and just being like, yeah, that's the deal, but I didn't sign it yet. Like, I want to be the one to break the news or whatever.
Well, everyone was like, Aaron can't stay out of the spotlight. He can't let anyone else have the spotlight for a single minute, can he? Because he put that tweet out right as all the Russell Wilson trade was going down. So everyone's freaking out about Russell Wilson, and then Aaron's like, no, look at me. Like, I didn't actually sign this. Like, I'm still interesting. But yeah, sure, Aaron. Whatever. The story of the day today, though. Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. He was in Houston. He was at his grand jury hearing today. And the result was 9 no votes on his criminal charges. He will not be charged criminally. That part of his case is over. Could still have civil litigation coming from his 22 civil lawsuits. And what most people around the league expect is a suspension from the leagues, whatever that may be. I don't know. I have 8 in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be that long or not, but
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into the whole suspension thing, but there's been a lot of ridicule about the NFL's suspension rules after the whole thing with Ridley being suspended for the whole year for betting. When there's people like Adrian Peterson who got only 6 games or something like that for beating his son or something like that.
That one I have views about parenting, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying like that, or like the Ray Rice situation. I mean, he kind of essentially got kicked out of the league, but wasn't it only like a 2-game suspension or something like that?
Yeah, I mean Kareem Hunt was pretty bad too.
But like, so I don't know but yeah, I would say 8 games would probably sound about right. But knowing now that he's not going to get criminally charged for anything and no jail time or whatever, that definitely opens up the market again for him. And if I were a team, that is in need of a quarterback, like your Panthers, they're the first team that comes to mind that could actually take on the contract and stuff. Like, I would love him on the Saints too, but the Saints can't do that. They have no money. But I would totally take a guy like him, even knowing that I'm going to lose him for 8 games or whatever, as long as it's not trading for him and he's never going to see the field.
Yeah. I think that, the trade market will ramp up very quickly this weekend. I heard
what other suitors are there though, other than the Panthers though, because I can't think of any right now.
Steelers. Yeah, I mean the Steelers.
I wouldn't do that if I were the Texans, though. I wouldn't want to trade him in the AFC.
Colts, Texans wouldn't trade him in division, but
Yeah.
What do the Seahawks do now? They have extra draft capital. And yeah, I mean, you really just talk about any team that needs a quarterback, and like fringe teams like the Giants, the Vikings, the Commanders are probably kicking themselves now.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Panthers, though, which I'm very excited that the Deshaun Watson thing happened today and he's clear of all criminal charges. Multiple teams have called the Panthers inquiring about trading for Christian McCaffrey. And I've said it all along. Put McCaffrey in a deal with a couple first-round picks and whatever else to get Watson. It's so clear in my head that makes the most sense of any trade from another team that would go after Watson. I mean, it mitigates having to send an extra first-round pick. You can two first-round picks, Christian McCaffrey, and then like a second-round pick next year, and maybe Robbie Anderson too.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to see what a healthy McCaffrey and Deshaun Watson could do together.
When is McCaffrey going to be healthy, though? I mean,
that's true.
He's missed, I don't know the exact number, but probably he's missed a whole season's worth of games over the last 2 years.
Yeah. But that right there, though, makes me think that he wouldn't even be worth the equivalent of a first-round pick.
Oh, he would. Teams would pay a first-round pick for McCaffrey. I can, not guaranteeing it, but it's pretty close to a guarantee. Christian McCaffrey is very highly sought after in the league. I mean, he's just like Kamara. I mean, he's Kamara with injuries. That's essentially what he is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not a GM or anything, but if I was a GM, I would not pay a first-round pick for McCaffrey because I would be way too nervous about his injury history.
Yeah. But like I'm saying, though, if you're the Texans and you are Nick Caserio and you're offered 2 first-round picks, Christian McCaffrey, a second-round pick next year, Robbie Anderson, and maybe a 4th-round pick this year. I mean, and you're all in on Davis Mills.
Yeah.
That gets you a bona fide running back, a number 2 wide receiver to pair with Brandon Cooks. So
the only problem I don't like about that deal too, though, is that Anderson and Cooks are the same type of receiver.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at it too, like how does Deshaun Watson match up against Russell Wilson? Because I feel like that's the kind of deal you have to look at now.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to pay more for Deshaun, obviously.
That's what I'm saying.
Being a lot younger. I don't know Deshaun's exact age, but I feel like he's somewhere in the range of 26 to 28.
Something like that.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's the package that I would offer, though. Because otherwise, I don't think the Panthers have many other options in terms of adding players to the deal because they're not gonna include Shaq Thompson or Brian Burns. Maybe they would add Yator Gross Matos, considering he was a second round pick just 2 years ago. But I highly doubt it. And they're also not going to include K'Wan Short either.
No.
So and their secondary, they need secondary players. They can't really afford to give anyone away there. So, yeah. The Giants have also gotten, I don't know if it's trade calls, maybe it is. But the Giants have gotten calls about tight end Evan Ingram as well. And some teams even were calling him to be a slot wide receiver instead of just a tight end. But he's another one where it's like, how many games is he going to play?
Yeah.
So I don't know. He is.
I mean,
weapon when he's
there are a couple teams out there. I've heard the Giants and Jets linked a lot. Most with Saquon Barkley, but the Jets also do need a tight end. So I could see a trade happen where the Jets trade for both of those guys in a deal.
Sure. The Cowboys getting calls too, or they're actually calling people, calling other people. Trade conversations surrounding offensive tackle Lyle Collins. So who needs an offensive tackle that wants to pay a tackle $10 million in 2022? I don't know.
Not for him.
The Steelers need offensive line help.
You don't want to try to convince Villanueva to come back?
We're not talking about him yet. Also, in the trade talk, teams have been calling the Eagles. Like I said before, Howie Roseman answers every call. Even my calls from time to time, Howie picks up. But they've been getting calls about defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. Now that would be some kind of move if Howie could persuade a team to trade for him. He's 33-ish. I think he's turning 32 or 33 this year. And he is a lot of money. He has a big cap hit. And I don't know how lucrative of a draft pick you could get for him at this point in his career. I don't think it will happen. But teams were calling at the trade deadline last year as well. And nothing ever got done. And I don't think it will again because the Eagles will want too high of a draft pick for teams not willing to go as high as they want. Plus, he's a mainstay in Philadelphia. I mean, he's one of the faces of the franchise right now. So.
Is he the longest tenured player right now? Or is that Kelsey? Or neither?
Cox, because we drafted Cox.
Oh, yeah.
I believe. Yeah, 2012, we drafted Cox. The Colts not just trading their quarterback, but they're also letting left tackle Eric Fisher walk in free agency. He will not. He did not get franchised. Is not going to re-sign, and just another tackle going to be available on the market this this coming week. So, see,
Yeah, he's a solid stopgap left tackle for a team.
Yeah.
Definitely hasn't lived up to his number one overall status, but he's still a solid player.
Again, Steelers need offensive line help. Eric, if you'd like to live in Pittsburgh, that'd be cool. The Raiders, they did not tender fullback Alec Ingold. I believe he was a restricted free agent. He is going to be in free agency as well. So one of the best fullbacks available in the league. And, you know, I talk about my teams way too much, but I was like, bro, when I heard that, I was like, Panthers, go sign him. Give McCaffrey another blocker.
Yeah.
So,
or whoever the running back is going to be if he gets traded.
Yeah. So
Hubbard.
The Giants. This was a weird one. I wasn't even looking at this story on ESPN, but I was reading Todd McShay's latest mock draft, and then at the bottom, when you get to the bottom, it has another story that if you swipe up, it'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
And I just kind of saw Giants Mitchell Trubisky, and I was like, what? So I swiped up, and I was like, wow. So apparently the Giants are going to make a run at quarterback Mitchell Trubisky in free agency with the intention to bring him in to push Daniel Jones. Whether that works or not, I don't know. But also, the article about him said the Giants aren't going to be willing to overpay for him.
Yeah.
And they'll more than likely get outbid by teams like the Steelers or, Colts, whatever teams are looking for that kind of stopgap option at quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, the only obvious thing I see there with the Giants is the Buffalo connection with Daboll.
Yeah.
Obviously, he worked closely with him last year. So I don't know if he actually thinks he's good or if he just wants that familiarity. But I don't know. Obviously, I think there's something there that Daboll knows that we don't.
Yeah, I mean, he looked very, very good in the preseason when they just annihilated the Bears.
There was a lot of added layers to that game.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was a little bit extra motivation for Trubisky. But also, quarterbacks. Colin Kaepernick back in the news this week. Apparently, he's still been working out, and he still wants to play in the NFL. So he is 34. He'll turn 35 on November 3rd. So still young enough to play, for another 3 years, maybe.
Yeah. At least.
Teams looked at
he hasn't played since what, like 2016, 2017, something like that. But I mean, it all depends. I mean, the videos looked pretty good, but obviously nothing is comparable to the actual game speed and all that. But I personally don't think he's going to get a job regardless, not because of his physical abilities or playability or whatever, but because of all the off-field stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's just going to be too much of a distraction for teams to want to take a chance on him.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with what he's saying either. I'm just saying in general, teams are just not going to want to have that headache on the team.
Yeah, he hasn't played since 2016, which was just an abysmal 11 games, 1-10 when his first 11 starts, or his 11 starts that year.
Yeah,
but I mean, 28-30 overall in his career. Yeah, I mean, the Ravens kicked the tires on him. 2 years ago, I believe that was.
Uh,
Worked him out. They didn't sign him at that point, and I don't know. I mean, a lot different world that we're in now as opposed to 2 years ago or whatever. But yeah,
uh,
it would kind of be like, the Tebow signings when he signed a couple different places and didn't work out.
yeah. I mean, I personally, though, like you were talking about the stopgap thing with Trubisky, I would prefer Kaepernick over Trubisky, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the style of play and all that. So, like a team like Pittsburgh or Indianapolis looking for that 1-year starter guy, I would look at him.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't think he would work in Indy. Pittsburgh, though, I could see it. I don't know. A lot of the times when I talk about players and team fits, I kind of just like picture them in that uniform, and I'm like, do they look good in that or not? I was like, I can't see Kaepernick with a horseshoe on the side of his helmet, but I could see him with a black helmet and the Steelers logo on the side.
Uh-huh.
But the only issue with that is Cap wears 7, and that would not be allowed.
Make him 17.
Yeah. Or, we could just cut Mason Rudolph and he could take number 2. Because I don't remember what number he wore at Nevada.
I don't know.
That was kind of before me really getting into college football.
Yeah.
The NFLPA has elected or will elect Browns center J.C. Treader to a second term as Players Association president. So congrats to J.C. But, I mean, he's done a lot, and I think that the NFLPA has gotten more say and a little bit more power in his term, in his first term as president there. So should continue to do well with them.
Yep.
And he's helped a lot of players with suspension appeals too.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of a player that has gotten into trouble, we're actually going to talk about 2 in a row. But former Vikings first-round pick out of TCU, Jeff Gladney, released last year, 2021 first-round pick. From the Vikings. Released last year after he was arrested on assault charges. Found not guilty this week on those charges. So, another corner that's available now if teams are comfortable with his legal situation or, whether he's going to get suspended by the NFL. Those suspensions always come after the court proceedings. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
But if he was found not guilty, what could he be suspended for?
Well, teams still, the NFL still suspends people regardless of not guilty or not with their own investigation.
Yeah.
So, because, it's one of those things where you can always put it into the catch-all of detrimental to the game and act detrimental to the game. So that's probably what it would fall into. Maybe something like a little 2-game suspension, possibly. But still, first-round pedigree.
Yep.
And again, the corner market is going to be very good this year in free agency. You got the top guys, J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, and then you got guys that will probably be on the cheap, like Gladney now. That will be probably good performers for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, another guy that got in trouble, Calvin Ridley. More details came out about his 5-day betting stint in which he was suspended for the entire 2022 season. I kind of over-exaggerated on the script. I put that he lied about his wagering, which is kind of accurate, because he didn't just bet $1,500. He actually bet $3,900 on Falcons team total. So for them to score a certain amount of points, for those that don't know what that means. And also on 5 parlays that included the Falcons to win. He did also bet on the NBA and other sports, but that is allowed under NFL rules. It's just you cannot bet on NFL games, especially your own team. So 3,900 over 5 days instead of 1,500. And some more bets than what he originally said. Don't know what that means, but sure. It was put out there today, so I figured I'd mention it. And this is big news for broadcasting. We had mentioned a couple weeks back that Troy Aikman was leaving Fox Sports to kind of kick out Brian Greasy in the Monday Night Football booth. Well, now, I don't remember who the middle guy was, the like non-sports guy. Steve Levy. Steve Levy, his seat is getting taken as well because the ESPN is getting a monster move. They have persuaded Joe Buck to follow Troy Aikman to Monday Night from Fox Sports. So, I mean, Monday Night Football, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck is just going to be fantastic. And if they're keeping Louis Riddick in the booth too, I think that will be a awesome 3-headed monster for Monday Night Football.
I screwed myself over on that one. I was when Troy Aikman got picked, I was all excited that I didn't have to listen to the two of them together anymore. And now Joe Buck follows.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what Fox Sports is going to do, who their number one team is going to be. I know someone mentioned about Gus Johnson going to the A-team, which I could see. Gus Johnson and Charles Davis together, I could see them taking over as the number one team for Fox. Okay. The Eagles center Jason Kelce announced he is returning this season in legendary fashion. Did you see the video, Chris?
No.
Well, how the video started was he pumped the keg. He had a keg with him, and he pumped it, poured a beer out, took a swig of his beer, and as the beer was dripping down his beard and stuff, he said essentially that he was returning to the Eagles this year, or that he was retiring from doing what he was doing there, just drinking beer and not playing football. So he is returning to the Eagles this year amid retirement reports. They got a new deal done with him. 1 year, $14 million. He's the highest paid center in the league, as he should be. He is the best center in the league. I will say that on record.
Yeah, and I don't think that changes the Eagles' plans either. I think Linderbaum, is on their radar in the draft too, if he's there for one of their 3 picks. So,
well, I still think we don't need to draft him when we have Landon Dickerson. We drafted him last year, and he was very
forgot about him.
Yeah, very fine center at Alabama until he tore his ACL in the 2019 SEC championship game. Another lineman, you mentioned him before because and we're going to actually talk about him now. Ravens, offensive tackle Alejandro Villanueva. He has retired after 7 seasons, spent the first 5 with the Steelers, the last 2 with the Ravens. Great story from him, former Army Ranger, and then came back from overseas and played football. And I don't know. Pretty good 7 seasons for him though. I didn't really notice him too much in Baltimore, but he was very good for the Steelers when he was in Pittsburgh. I know that. You cut out. Yeah, so Chris is in a dead zone right now, which is always fun. But we shall move on and talk about the extensions. Loads of money being moved around the NFL right now. And it started, we're going to go, biggest contracts to smallest contracts. The biggest one coming today. Raiders have signed defensive end Max Crosby to a new deal, an extension, 4 years, $95 million, $53 million guaranteed. Just an incredible story from him on the exact day, 2 years removed from becoming sober. He has been a whirlwind 4th round pick for the Raiders a couple of seasons ago, 2 years left on his deal. I love him. I think he's an awesome player, very energetic, funny, likes to have a good time on the field, and my kind of guy. So, Max Crosby, congrats to you, sir, on a well-deserved extension. The Titans also got a deal done with their best pass rusher. Did not franchise tag linebacker Harold Landry at the tag deadline, but that's because they knew they were getting this deal done. 5 years, $87.5 million, $52.5 million guaranteed. Harold Landry I feel like he's been a so-so player throughout his first couple of years, and then the last couple of his rookie deal, he really came on and, got his numbers up. Yeah, Chris. So you got through the dead zone.
Maybe.
So yeah, I already talked about Crosby and a little bit about Landry. If you had anything about Villanueva or either of those two guys.
Wait, what about Landry?
Oh, so Max Crosby, 4 years, $95 million, $53 million guaranteed. Landry, Titans signed him to a 5-year, $87.5 million deal, $52.5 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I knew that. When you said Landry, I thought of Jarvis Landry. That's what what happened to him.
Oh no, Harold.
Yeah, I like both of those deals for both of those teams. Obviously, Landry with the Titans was he was a taggable candidate. That didn't end up happening, and now we know why. He's been a solid player for them. But Max Crosby, though, he really deserved that deal that he got. He's been the star of that defense for the Raiders.
And like I said, it's crazy that he got it today on the exact day, 2 years removed from becoming sober, which is also an interesting little nugget that was involved in the deal too.
Huh. Well, congratulations to him.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really great story for him. The next extension we're going to talk about, I absolutely hated it. It got swept under the rug from the Russell Wilson trade on Tuesday. The Chargers signed wide receiver Mike Williams to a 3-year, $60 million extension, $40 million guaranteed. Absolutely hate this deal. Mike Williams had his career best season this year, but he is not worth $20 million, even though it's only for 3 years. He's not even the best receiver on his team. So I don't know what the Chargers were thinking, but here we are.
Yeah. When I saw that deal, I was quite surprised myself. I mean, I don't think he would have gotten that in the open market. So maybe that's why he took it, but I don't know. The 3 years for $60 million and it's 40 guaranteed, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot for a number 2 guy who, I mean, you said he had his career best year last year, but that receiving core in Los Angeles is pretty deep. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets passed up by one of those other guys.
Yeah, possibly. Jalen Guyton had a nice season for them last year too, like you were mentioning. $12 million extension. Nice deal for both sides, I thought. And, Josh Reynolds had some really good games with the Lions last year and Jared Goff. So another 2 years in Detroit for him. The Panthers locked up their kicker, Zane Gonzalez, 2 years, $4.5 million. Really solidified the position after they went through a couple of kickers the previous couple of seasons, but Zane Gonzalez in Carolina for another 2 years. The Saints, they signed defensive end Carl Granderson to a new 2-year, $4.3 million deal. Young pass rusher for them, trying to develop him into a more potent player. The Steelers, they re-signed safety Miles Killebrew to a 2-year, $4 million deal. Really good deal for both sides as well. Miles Killebrew is their number 1 special teams player. So I'm very excited to keep him in Pittsburgh. He had the blocked punt against the Chargers that should have saved the game for them, but then Ben couldn't make it come back the whole time or the rest of the way. But yeah, he's really good special teams player. This one was interesting. The 49ers re-signed quarterback Nate Sudfeld. 1 year, $2 million, fully guaranteed, $3 million max. So not big money, only a 1-year deal. But apparently there was interest from teams out there that were looking forward to getting a chance to sign him in free agency. The Niners and I guess a couple other teams still think that Nate Sudfeld could develop into a starter level quarterback. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, at the very least, though, he's a solid backup option, which is why I think the 49ers went ahead and signed him, because I think that, I mean, not just me, I think everybody assumes at this point that Jimmy G is out the door. So he's a nice solid option for to back up Trey Lance.
Yeah, Nate Sudfeld sucks. I saw him firsthand in Philadelphia. He sucks. The Texans, they got a deal done. Linebacker Christian Kirksey signed to a 2-year extension. Solid piece on their defense, one of their leaders on the Texans defense. And, Lovie Smith being the new head coach now, he is one of Lovie's top guys for the defense. So your Jets re-signed safety LaMarcus Joyner to a 1-year deal. Take Marcus May's place.
Essentially, yeah. But I'm very curious about this move because I liked it when they did it last year, but then obviously I forget what he did, but he got hurt in the preseason and missed the entire season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was excited for this move last year. Now, hopefully, we can get a healthy year out of him, and I think he'll be a pretty good safety for us.
And then the Chiefs, they re-signed wide receiver Josh Gordon, so he gets another year in Kansas City to develop more.
Not that he really did much.
Yeah, I mean, he came in mid-season. It was a little tough, not knowing the plays and whatnot. But the Texans, they are re-signing quarterback Jeff Driscoll. And yes, I do say quarterback because he was switching back to quarterback after the Texans made him switch to tight end last year. So Jeff Driscoll back at quarterback and back with the Texans to back up Davis Mills this year. The 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, he underwent his shoulder surgery this week. Should be back by training camp. So does that hurt or help his trade candidacy? I don't know. I don't think it will affect it. So we had a bunch of releases too as we inch closer to the new league year. Let's go through them here. So the Broncos, these are just in chronological order. Broncos, they released wide receiver Deshaun Hamilton, was coming off a torn ACL from 2020, never played this past season, 2021. So he is healthy now and should garner some interest on the wide receiver free agency market. Mm-hmm. Former fourth-round pick, my boy, Penn State. The Bills, like I said, linebacker market's getting flooded too now. The Bills released linebacker AJ Klein, $5.6 million in cap space goes back to Buffalo for him. Very solid player. I mean, Panthers, Saints, Bills, wherever he's gone, he's been very good. Not the best, but a decent kid.
Very serviceable.
We use that word too much. I didn't want to say it, Chris.
You gotta say it.
You knew it was the end of an era when Russell Wilson got traded, but then it was confirmed that it was an end of an era when the Seahawks released linebacker Bobby Wagner. Was it the same day or was it the next day?
I believe it was the same day.
Yeah. $16.6 million saved in cap space for Seattle. The Cowboys actually have contacted Bobby Wagner's agents and said they are interested in signing him potentially. So wait and see on that front.
Yeah, I think Wagner's going to get a lot of interest out there. And, he's not the last piece from the Super Bowl team, right? I think Lockett might be one of the only ones out there still.
Is he on that team?
On the Seahawks right now.
No, I mean, was he on that?
Oh, Lockett?
I don't
know.
He was drafted.
Maybe he wasn't.
Yeah, I think he was drafted in 2016.
Oh, so maybe, they might not even have anybody left from that team now.
Yeah, not that I can think of. Pete Carroll. That's it. And I mean, we've heard the last couple of seasons about him possibly leaving, retiring, considering he's the second oldest coach in the league, I believe.
Yeah, it's him or Belichick. I forget who's older.
Yeah, Bill. I think Bill's older. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, more linebackers. The Cardinals released linebacker Jordan Hicks. I'm very interested to see if he makes his return to Philadelphia or not. I loved Jordan Hicks when he played for the Eagles. He was a great player. Went to Arizona, was still very good. But the Cardinals have, Isaiah Simmons and I'm blanking on the other dude that they just drafted. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, they're trying to get their two young linebackers looks. So Jordan Hicks was a cap casualty there. Texans released corner Terrence Mitchell. Sorry, Terrence, it's not a good time to be a corner in free agency.
No.
Especially because he is on the older side too. Maybe he'll go back to Cleveland. I don't know. He was pretty good in Cleveland. The Titans, they released guard Roger Saffold. Bengals could be calling Saffold real quick. One of the better free agent guards available now. The Washington Commanders, they released safety Landon Collins. So one of the best safeties now available on the free agent market. Trying to cash in for a second time in his career. The Lions, it's interesting. You look at these names that got released, and it's like, I remember when these guys signed their big money deals, and it's just crazy to see them all get released now, So
yeah, these are all the ones that didn't work out.
Yeah, the Lions, they released defensive end Trey Flowers. Massive deal coming over from New England when he signed with Detroit. Did not work out at all. Wasn't even close to what the sack production they thought he was going to give them. But a decent pass rusher can give you situational pass rush help if you need it, and be a part of a rotation in a 4-3 scheme. Raiders, they released linebacker Corey Littleton. Again, like I said, the linebacker market is just flooded with really good players, and a lot of different types of linebackers also.
Yeah.
Because when you look at guys like Jordan Hicks and Bobby Wagner, I would push them towards more of run stopping linebackers. And when you look at guys like Corey Littleton, AJ Klein, I think they are faster guys, that especially Littleton, that are better in coverage than stopping the run. The Giants released punter Riley Dixon. They saved $2.8 million in cap space off him. His net average punting dropped about 1.5 yards from his career season in 2020. So, yeah, they released the Giants are looking for a new punter. Running backs hitting the market. The Bears releasing running back Tariq Cohen with a injury designation. Missed all of last season, dealing with was that knee injury?
Something like that. I don't know. I have him on our dynasty league, and I was thinking about releasing him, but maybe I'll hold on to him and see where he goes.
Not worth it, Chris. Not worth the roster spots. The Jags, they released running back Carlos Hyde. I would expect him to get some looks in the free agency market. Carlos Hyde's always been a guy that signs somewhere and gives a team, he'll give a team, like 500 yards and 4 touchdowns a season. That's just Carlos Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need a running back to be put in a rotation, go call Hyde's agent. And a big one, a couple big ones actually to end here, the releases. The Bears, they released nose tackle Eddie Goldman. So we talked about the Chargers drafting Jordan Davis. And maybe they don't have enough money anymore considering they took on all of Khalil Mack's salary and they just signed Mike Williams. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if the price is right, Khalil Mack with reuniting with Eddie Goldman would be, Chargers defense would be top 10. Top 5 even, possibly. They can get their
I think they
linebacker.
I mean, they might already be top 10 with what they have now, but Goldman might put them over the top.
And then the Cowboys, 2 big names released from Dallas today. They are trying to create cap space. Kicker Greg Zuerlein. So I don't know what the kicker free agent market looks like right now, but I would have to think that Greg Zuerlein is top of the list. Your Jets, do they need one? Still?
I don't know. I don't know what I have no idea what the situation with Pinheiro is, because he was a solid kicker for us last year. But I mean, I would take a guy like Greg Zuerlein with his resume, although he definitely wasn't the same player for the Cowboys that he was with the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, he had some misses, but he still has the leg strength. He can still boom them from 50 plus. So, and the Cowboys also waived with an injury designation tight end Blake Jarwin. We mentioned him a couple shows ago. Had the hip surgery, the uncommon for an active NFL player hip surgery. Not sure if he's going to get signed anywhere, because he more than likely isn't going to be playing this year. So, we'll have to wait and see if he ends up landing on a team or not. And then
what's the deadline for Cooper and releasing him?
Free agency.
Okay. I wasn't sure what they were waiting for, because I mean, obviously they're planning to do it, so I didn't know if there was a specific date that they'd have to pay him or something.
No, I think his roster bonus, like almost every other contract that I know, usually the roster bonus becomes guaranteed on the 5th day of the league year.
Yeah.
So that'd be March 21st or 20th if you count the 16th. Yeah. But I mean, the Cowboys are under the cap, I believe, at this point, so they don't necessarily need the cap space. But I mean, when you look at when on Sunday we're gonna have the negotiating window open on Sunday, so maybe they do want that cap space to be able to negotiate with free agent. And then we had one free agent signing. The Texans signed Bengals offensive tackle Cedric Ogbuehi to a 1-year deal.
Shocker, the Texans signed somebody.
Yeah.
Continuing their trend from last year.
I mean, the Texans are also they worked out some corners. Malcolm Butler, big name there, and also former Broncos second round pick Isaac Yiadom as well. So those two working out for Houston this week. And I've actually kind of been surprised how tame my phone has been throughout the show. Nothing has been going on after all of the Deshaun stuff. So yeah, let's move on to our mock drafts. So here are the picks for the three teams we're doing today: Seahawks, Browns, and Ravens. The Seahawks, number 9 overall. I forgot to mention that's from the Broncos on there, if you didn't know. Second round, they have the number 40 pick from the Broncos and number 41. And the third round, they had number 72. The Browns, number 13 overall, number 44 and in the second, and number 78 in the third, all of their original picks. And the Ravens as well have their own picks, number 14 overall, 45 in the second, and 76 in the third. I thought it was funny. The Seahawks actually moved up one draft slot.
Yeah.
Between the Jamal Adams trade and the Russell Wilson trade.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I noticed that too, and I was like, of course that would happen. But I don't know. If I was a Seahawks fan right now, I don't know if I'd really be happy with moving up one spot and essentially trading Russell Wilson for Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's get it there. So the Aiden Hutchinson, number 1. You were right, Chris. Kyle Hamilton went to the Lions at 2. Evan Neal to the Texans. Ike Mekwanu to the Jets at 4.
All right. I like
Kayvon Thibodeau to the Giants at 5. Charles Cross to the Panthers. Trevor Penning to the Giants.
A little bit of a tackle run there.
Well, again, they should have just listened to us and take the tackle first because the Panthers need one. And then Trayvon Walker, top 10, to the Falcons at 8. So the Seahawks now at number 9. What in the hell do we do?
I mean, our original plan kind of fell through here, unless you wanted to go with a different lineman. But I know when we talked about it the other day, you said that you thought lineman was what they were thinking about doing.
Yeah, and there's nothing. There is no offensive lineman worth the number 9 pick. So
in this scenario, though, do they take the future of their franchise?
I don't think so.
Still don't think so?
I think they're going to give Locke the opportunity this year to play it out.
Yeah. Well, I can't really look right now because I'm driving, but who else is on the board right now?
So I think we should go best available, which from knowledge of John Schneider's draft history, that is what they do in Seattle, is go best player available. Top 2 are the corners, Stingley and Gardner. Jermaine Johnson also there, and Ojabo, the edge rushers. Now, corner is the 4th need. Edge is the 3rd. But if, like I said, if we're going best available, has to be one of the corners.
Yeah, I would go Gardner here and get an edge in the second round if I can.
I concur. Sauce Gardner to the Seahawks. Now your Jets go Derek Stingley at 10. Jamison Williams to Washington. They are giving Carson Wentz a new weapon, even though he may only play 3/4 or a half of the year. That's a little too rich for my blood for Jamison Williams. Trent McDuffie to the Vikings. Now the Browns. That's up perfectly for what they need. their number one need in terms of the draft network is edge, and it fits perfectly. Jermaine Johnson, number one player on the board. David Ojabo, number 2. So we have our pick of edge rushers, and I'm fine with taking Johnson.
Yeah.
To pair with Myles Garrett. Now, I think this could change if they can somehow keep Jadeveon Clowney. He's a free agent, but
I mean, I already heard that was a no deal.
Yeah,
that he was not coming back. So
I assume too. I mean, he's going to garner too much on the open market. They won't be able to afford him. All right, so Jermaine Johnson, Florida State at number 13 for the Browns here. Now we have the Ravens, similar needs, interior defensive lines, number 1, edge, number 2. So we do have David Ojabo here. Corner is number 3. That is also one of the top 5 players on the board. Andrew Booth out of Clemson. I think that's a little too high, maybe at 14 to take him. We do have Jordan Davis sitting as the 5th ranked player here. Again, I want to put Jordan Davis to the Chargers so badly. So, and I think the Ravens maybe need edge. I don't know. I have no clue what the Ravens need, actually. But I mean, Villanueva did just retire. There's not a tackle worth picking here. So that's off the board. But I mean, I guess Ojabo, he's the number 1 guy on the board, and it fits one of their top needs, I guess. So I know Chris has his mic muted. So I think I'm just going to take David Ojabo for us without Chris's consent. To keep the show running. So David Ojabo, I'm sure John can get some insider information on Ojabo from Jim here. So David Ojabo to the Ravens. Look at that. I knew Andrew Booth was going to go to the Eagles at 15. Andrew Booth, Chris, you're right, man. You keep telling Linderbaum to the Eagles, but I don't think it's going to happen. Jordan Davis, of course, to the Chargers. There's the first quarterback, Malik Willis to the Saints. I love this draft. George Karlaftis to the Eagles, and Kenny Pickett to the Steelers. Please make this draft happen right now. Except I don't like that Nakobe Dean goes to New England. I'm sure you wouldn't like that either. Zion Johnson to the Raiders. Kyer Elam to the Cardinals. Daxton Hill to the Cowboys. Safety's going a little high in this draft. Devontae Wyatt for the Bills. Devin Lloyd to the Titans. Garrett Wilson to the Bucks. Perry and Winfrey for the Packers. Drake London for the Dolphins. Traylon Burks for the Chiefs. Kenyon Green for the Bengals. And look at that. Another quarterback, 3 in the round. Desmond Ridder to the Lions at 32. Chris Olave, nice weapon for Trevor Lawrence at 33 for the Jags. Jahan Dotson for the Lions. Cameron Thomas to your Jets. Matt Corral, dude, they keep drafting. They keep putting a quarterback to New York in the 2nd round. That is going to be something. I don't know if it's going to be something to watch, but it's just, I think it's funny because they keep saying they're all in on Daniel Jones. Boye Mafe to the Texans. Your Jets again go Jaquan Brisker. I know you like that pick. Christian Watson for the Bears at 39. Back on the Seahawks. I don't know if Chris is able to unmute now.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to pull over. I got a really bad Charlie horse, and I had to step out of the car for a second.
It's all good, man. Yeah, so I picked us Ojabo for the Ravens at 14. Second biggest need for them. So yeah, your Jets though, Cameron Green and or Cameron Thomas and Jaquan Brisker there in the second round.
I'd be okay with that.
And then the Seahawks now at 40 and 41. Tackle is still their number one need. And again, if we're going to take a tackle, let's take it with 41.
Yeah.
So it says quarterback, but I just don't think.
I mean, quarterback is a need for them, but like you said, there's better options out there next year.
Yeah. And I mean, Sam Howell's the number one quarterback. I'm not big on him. How about it's very low on the list of needs. Edge rusher is third. There's not an edge guy here. Arnold Ebiketie at 54. We have.
How about a wide receiver to compensate for losing either DK or Lockett? Because they might trade one of those guys too.
Well, they haven't yet. So, and they do have Dwayne Eskridge too, that they drafted last year. We're going best available player with the Seahawks. So why not go the number one guy on the board? I know you really like him. Christian Harris, linebacker out of Alabama, to fill Bobby Wagner's shoes.
I was going to say, I'm kind of surprised that linebacker is so low on the list here.
Yeah. I mean, they do have Jordan Brooks, who had a very nice season last year. And I don't really know who else. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that pick.
All right. Okay, so again, back with the Seahawks next pick. And like I said, I think we can reach for the tackle now. Bernard Raymond, Central Michigan, he is at 52. Daniel Fa'alele is at 53. But I would go Raymond at this point.
Yeah.
So that's my pick. Not much going into it, but that is who I think. Bernard Raymond.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Colts getting Sky Moore. Falcons going Daniel Fa'alele. So now the Browns, interior defensive line is their next need after we got them an edge rusher. And look at that. We do have an interior defensive lineman available. DeMarvin Leal is the fourth highest player right now. Wide receiver is also a need. We don't have any wideouts right here. George Pickens at 58 would be the next guy. We do have some safeties, though. If they wanted to go safety, Lewis Seen and Jalen Petrie are available.
Both very solid guys.
But yeah, I think the Browns want to beef up their defensive line. So DeMarvin Leal, Texas A&M, is the guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Ravens next pick. Sucks for them because we just took their interior defensive lineman, which is their number one.
That's what a division rival will do to you, though. So.
Yeah, and the next interior defensive lineman isn't until Travis Jones all the way at 60, and we're at.
How about corners? What's available for them right now.
We do have a corner, and one that's very worth this spot. Kyler Gordon out of Washington. Tariq Woolen actually is right there too, UTSA. But I think Washington, Kyler Gordon, probably the pick. Ravens dealt with a lot of injuries at corner this year. And sucks also for them because when I mentioned in the first round, Villanueva retiring, could take a tackle, but the next one's not till Nicholas Petit-Frere at 75. And the Falcons took one two picks before. So, Kyler Gordon, Washington, corner. All right, Vikings. Sam Howell. There we go. Sean Ryan for the Commanders. Tariq Woolen for the Bears. That seems like a good fit. George Pickens to the Saints. Chad Muma to the Dolphins. Travis Jones for the Eagles. Roger McCreary to the Steelers. David Bell for the Raiders. Jalen Petrie for the Patriots. Isaiah Spiller for the Cardinals. Arnold Ebiketie for the Cowboys. Logan Hall for the Bills. Tyler Smith for the Falcons. Josh Pascal to the Packers. Nicholas Petit-Frere for the Bucks. Darian Kendrick for the Niners. Kingsley Enagbare to the Chiefs. Abraham Lucas for the Bengals. Lewis Seen to the Broncos. Jamari Sawyer for the Jags. Damone Clark for the Lions. Kenneth Walker to the Giants. Look at that. Saquon gone, probably. Dylan Parham for the Texans. Your Jets get Breece Hall.
I like that.
Brian Asamoah for the Jags. Darian Kennard for the Bears. Back with the Seahawks. Chris, I don't know if you heard me in the first round when the Steelers got Kenny Pickett at 20.
Yep. They didn't have to do anything. He fell right to him.
I know, and I love that Washington traded for Carson Wentz now. It takes them out 11.
I know.
More than likely.
But I mean, like I said, though, they still got to worry about possibly Seattle at 9. But
okay, so the Seahawks. Now, just to recap, we have them: Ahmad Gardner, Christian Harris, Bernard Raymond. See, now I think is where quarterback would be an intriguing option because Carson Strong is still available. But what I've been told in the NFL draft is, especially I heard this when the Eagles drafted Hurts. If you think a guy's a first-round pick or, a future starter, take him in the first round. If he's not, if you think you're going to have to develop him, you shouldn't take a quarterback until like the 4th or 5th round. So that second and third round range is just weird for quarterbacks because not that many get taken in those 2 rounds. We do have Carson Strong available here.
Yeah.
The other top need would be edge rusher, which we do have one relatively close to the top of the board too. Drake Jackson at USC. There's a crap load of tight ends available because we haven't had one get drafted yet. But they don't need a tight end. They have Noah Fant.
Yeah, they just traded for him. I mean, I know Seattle goes best player available and all that, and I can't look at who the best player available is right now, but
John Mechie.
I'd say try to recreate the Legion of Boom in a sense, and just keep building up that defense.
Yeah, like I said, the top edge rusher would be Drake Jackson, and it's not that far off the top of the board. So I guess we go with them. Fits a need. So sure. Drake Jackson for the Seahawks here at 72. Colts go Carson Strong. Are you kidding me? They're going to trade one Carson for another one? Wow.
I was going to say that earlier when we were talking about the trade, but I decided not to. And I find it hilarious it actually happened.
John Mechie to the Falcons. Mario Goodrich for the Broncos. Back with the Ravens. Recap for them. Ojabo in the first round. Kyler Gordon in the second. third round pick here. We still need an interior defensive lineman, and one is available by Darian Mathis from Alabama. The only one available right now. I think we got to go and take him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all
Alabama boy. I mean, they all usually are. It's a pretty good chance he works out. So why not?
all defense for the Ravens here in this draft. Vikings take Zachary Carter. Wow, they reached for him. Interior defensive line. Especially because we saw when I was reading the combine, Zach Carter was at the bottom of almost every physical test. The Browns now, we have them taking Jermaine Johnson in the first, DeMarvin Leal in the second. So they are all defense as well. We've only taken one offensive player in this mock draft, Bernard Raymond for the Seahawks.
Well, these three teams are very needy on defense. So,
well, we're going to go offense now with the Browns because Baker needs another receiver. There is literally only one available at the top of the board because it's, like I said, it's literally all tight ends. Every player at the top is either a tight end or a linebacker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 10 of the top 11 players are either tight ends or linebackers. But there is one receiver, and it's Calvin Austin, which is not the type of receiver they need because he's a slot guy, and that's what Jarvis does. But I feel like we have to. He's unless we. I mean, we can go linebacker. They don't need a tight end. They already franchised Njoku, and they have Hooper too. And Harrison Bryant as well.
Yeah.
So linebacker, though, we have a lot of options. Like I said, Darian Beavers, Cincinnati, Leo Chenal, your guy out of Wisconsin, Channing Tindall from Georgia, and my guy, Troy Anderson, Montana State.
I mean, who do the Browns have at linebacker right now? They got JOK, right? And then who else? I don't even know who else they have.
I can't remember. But I'm probably being biased, but I feel like Channing Tindall would be the guy.
Sure. Why not?
I don't know. That's just, I feel like he's better than Beavers and Chenal. Even though I love Troy Anderson, Montana State, but Channing Tindall for the Browns. Darian Beavers goes the next pick to the Chargers. Alante Taylor for the Texans. Isaiah Likely to the Giants. Nick Benito for the Colts. Kirby Joseph for the Eagles. Ed Ingram for the Steelers. Doesn't he get drafted the Steelers every time?
I think so.
Marcus Jones for the Patriots. Josh Williams for the Raiders. Jalen Weidermeyer for the Cardinals. Kate Otten. Cowboys. James Cook to the Bills. Calvin Austin to the Titans. Cam Taylor-Britt for the Bucks. Rasheed Walker for the Packers. Kyle Phillips for the Niners. Leo Chenal to the Chiefs. Michael Wright for the Bengals. Troy Anderson for the Broncos. God, that fits so well. Sam Williams to the Lions. So we actually do have some more picks because the Browns and Ravens are projected to get compensatory third-round picks. So we do have one pick more for each of those guys. Again, the top three guys are tight ends. Dang, dude, we could have waited and got Quay Walker. He is the fourth best player available.
Oh, well.
Well, we can get a
guy while they're there.
We can get a wide receiver now. There is, again, just one really in the top 10 available guys. And it is not a slot guy. It is an outside receiver. It is Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. So I think that's the home run slam dunk pick
Yeah, I like him there for the Browns.
And the Ravens are the next pick. They don't need a tight end. But this sets up nicely because we filled their first three needs, and we can fill their fourth one too. Interior offensive line. So it's not a tackle to fill Villanueva's shoes, but it is an interior guy because they need that as well. Best guy available is the guy I think we should go with, Cole Strange out of Chattanooga.
All right.
Played very well
I'm
at the Senior Bowl. Versatile. He played center at the Senior Bowl, which he had never played in his career. But he did nice. He did a nice job of it. So interior versatility, can play all three spots. Saints go Jeremy Ruckert, Tyreek Smith, Dolphins, Martin Emerson for the Chiefs, and then the Rams go Spencer Burford, interior offensive line out of UTSA. So our picks: Seahawks, Ahmad Gardner, a Cincinnati corner. Browns at 13, edge rusher Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. Ravens at 14, David Ojabo, edge out of Michigan. Seahawks back-to-back 40 and 41. They get linebacker Christian Harris out of Alabama and offensive tackle Bernard Raymond out of Central Michigan. The Browns at 44, DeMarvin Leal, interior defensive line from Texas A&M. 45, the Ravens go Kyler Gordon, corner out of Washington. Seahawks at 72, Drake Jackson, edge out of USC. 76, Ravens, Fidarian Mathis, interior defensive line out of Alabama. 78, the Browns go Channing Tindall, linebacker out of Georgia. 98, Browns, Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver out of South Alabama. And 99, Ravens, Cole Strange, interior offensive line out of Chattanooga. I thought the Ravens really, the board worked for them. The entire draft. It just seemed like every time they came up, their needs fit exactly what the board had. So I think they probably were the best one we had.
Yeah. And I think the Browns were probably the worst. They had the most reaches, I think, out of all of our picks tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So, Chris, did you post the last one?
No, I didn't have the time to today, so I'll get them out tonight or in the morning.
So we'll have our Monday show and our Friday show on our social media sometime within the next couple of days. But next Friday show will not be next week. It will be 2 weeks before we have another Friday show, because I will be in Panama City Beach next Friday. So I will not be available for spring break. But the next Friday show we will be doing is off-season week 6. We will be breaking down, I don't know, even by the time we do the next Friday show, I mean, free agency might be done at that point.
It might be a few like second-tier deals or something like that.
Yeah, because that'll be a week, almost a week and a half after free agency starts.
So yeah, we'll handle all the major ones on the Monday show.
Yeah, on the next two. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll be continuing our mock draft series, Patriots and Raiders, numbers 21 and 22 draft slots on the next Friday show. I was surprised, man. We got that done in relatively quick timing. I thought it was pretty good anyways.
Yeah. I mean, after the big trades, we kind of blew through everything else pretty quick.
Yeah. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Facebook as well. Negotiating window coming up on Sunday, so Money will be flying everywhere this weekend, Sunday into Monday, and we'll have it all wrapped up for you on the Monday show.
When does free agency actually begin though?
Wednesday, March 16th.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see another Frank Gore scenario where he agreed and then decided to switch his mind at the last minute.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, Chris,